So at some point in early November, let's continue with the last video. I have ejaculated and masturbated in the 2 days before for Nawalt Pineda. She's one slave of mine in Colombia, my wife actually. Slave, better. She chose me as her owner, so she has the necessity to glue her coñito, her hole. She's my slave, E.T. alien type, so to speak. Much better, actually. But just let's see what happens when I meet her. So I came for her, ejaculated 2 days before. Thus my tiredness. So it has to be said so that people know when they read my energy signature, to know that the story I'm relating to, I may have a lower energy signature or higher in this sense. Nawalt Pineda is my dirty girlfriend, but only for me. Not for anyone else. In a cage, actually. What else? So at some point, as mentioned in the earlier video, I'm gonna get quicker. So earlier video with this Taita Carubin, I was saying Teku Alvarado sometimes, or Carubin Keita Alvarado. I wouldn't call him that. I would call him Teku Alvarado. And the old shaman type, warrior type. I don't want to say too much of good thing about him. I would say, like in my Facebook post, I was downgrading him. I was saying an old somewhat. Old boy, maybe, or old. Let me check. Let me check this. I said something called old chick. So in the Facebook post, I called him an old chick. Here I should call him an old. Old pedophile. Maybe he touched my head physically at some point, giving me an initiation of clairvoyancy and other memory reading materials I shouldn't share, so don't look. So we're having a connection, and I said this before, so I'm gonna be quick. I was creating mentally a room, long corridor. I was having the idea of having a shop, a manufacturer. This is my deepest secret. You shouldn't know. At some point, the manufacturer contained my secret technologies, uh, and this this corridor uh, contains my secret technologies that's similar to a museum that could be visited. Unfortunately, I did it the wrong way, and it became a spaceship-like thing. Closed doors were open. Closed is better. Shouldn't come in because this room was filled with my secret teachings. The thing is, I built one for this Teco Alvarado, this old 108-year-old gal, somewhere in the neighbor, and would go and visit him, and had this dirty idea or evil idea of stealing all his knowledge. It was very funny. I looked at his manufacturer, and I said I should steal all his knowledge. I used this grey ET alien that I fucked with, or was one of my best carriers. It was a carrier ET, carrying me up to the spaceship, a small type, grey. In Ligater, he visited with the grandmother type ET. CIA spaceship, actually. The spaceship is triangular, with kind of a white circle. It's my own spaceship, actually. They gave me as a gift. On this spaceship, I was a babysitter, so to speak. A nappy guy, or how you call it. What is nappy in other words? Where the baby have the stuff. Pelenkázó. With these grey aliens, I would put my dick on the girl's pussy. And these grey aliens would sometimes have me as their pervert initiator. I would give sperm, perhaps. And in this room were some of my baby girls. And one of the woman on the spaceship, a grey woman, was my prostitute. Or I was the prostitute, and she was fucking with me. And this is one initiator of mine on the spaceship. We also in those. The spaceship is huge. Is relatively huge, and it would produce. In spaceship contain one pool area. In the pool area, I was bathing, and the woman would be around me, and they were baby girls, young grey ET aliens. We were fucking on the shore, and after the fucking, we would drink some kind of soup because They said, "What would you like?" I said, "I want some food." They'll make for me some ET soup, very strange. Similar to the to the Chinese soup that I ate before, with one bowl in it, with a strange taste that's I don't know what it's made of. It's like meat. Pork, perhaps. Some kind of pork material. So let's get back to the spaceship later. I was on this spaceship doing babysitting, and sometimes at night I would go in and sleep with a girl. They're in a bowl, like this, in a bowl. In the bowl is this girl, and the girl would be addicted to me in a sense, or rather connecting to me, waiting for me to kick their pussy, kick their puss. They were telling me to do the no. I was improvising and said do the kick the puss type of tradition. I don't remember exactly the whole procedure. I shall channel the memories. The pussy. Okay. Going back to the. So on this spaceship we had many memories. In the girl area, the sleeping area, to the left, one of the most beautiful girls on the spaceship, and I was going to fuck her, but he's her dad. Her so there's a lot of information. I prefer it to be more grey-like, grey ET. As I was saying, only I could get onto the spaceship. They're coming back to get me. Let's go on. I was actually on the spaceship. We had the young grey alien, who is very rapid in thinking, and I use him with this Black Thief style in the Caribbean's tent manufacture. I was inviting more of them, and that I didn't share before in a previous video. And I asked, what kind of knowledge does he exhibit in the manufacture? In a funny way, so to steal in a sense. I was looking at the object. I touched the object and looked at it and see how many of these, or how many information it contains. How many information it contains. And I said these technologies are quite strong, but it's an old people's technology. So in a funny way, I said, let's steal them all. And I sent these aliens in a very strong way. They're very strong aliens. They are intelligency. They are intelligent. So they went in. I was waiting. I looked, and quickly they came out with 100 bag, reminding me of my Shatan temple that I reinvented in September, Albania. At that time, I already said this before. At that time, this 100 and packages area. At that time, I asked telepathically and to say how many levels should the Shatan temple contain, and it said 100 levels. And the first level's initiation was a little girl sucking my dick, and this happened in Albania. Locals' connection with ET is how I invented the tradition. And the first level of the young girl suck my dick, the initiation. The rest I haven't decided yet. But my Facebook contained the info. Sadly, because Facebook is on a different type of place. They do not need such level of initiation. They go on with their business. Put this there is bad for me. Obviously. But they do not... it was solved in a sense that I'm a good stealer. So, getting back to the 100 packets. My Shatan temple would bring little niñas. Only girls would be able to join. That's another information. Only girls, without the parents. So, continuing with it. 100 packets of black bag. No, 100 packets of bag. And the ET bring here to me, these small grey aliens. With this black, very ancient thief symbol. The intent was that he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know it was stolen. He doesn't, yes. And the 100 packets I was bringing into my storage, into my manufacture, and was investigating. I picked up one or two. These levels could have become the pedophile level on my spaceship later. And this is the info that I'm receiving now. Because my hand is too pedophile. I was touching the first bag and looking in few of the objects. So it could, why I'm saying this, because these bags were hidden then. He might have realized it, the person, No. This is a joke. The thing is, let's go fast forward a few days or so. More than a few days. More than a few days. I was asking a question to the same cherubim. I said, what is the biggest spaceship ever? Or in the universe, or whatever, ever? Or what is the biggest spaceship you know? No, what is the biggest spaceship, simply? What is the biggest spaceship, simply? What is the biggest spaceship? And I saw him, I asked him, and he said, do you want to know? It might be... Most of the time when he says something, this is mostly my heart manipulating, because I'm a manipulator. This is like I share part of myself, put into his body, and making him in his heart, and making him speak. So his information may be compromised by my higher level energy. So I'm the highest level energy, and making him like a mirror, mirroring to me, but actually I'm connecting to the physical person. So many times this is a spy technology of the highest order, to lie, to make people die or make people famous. Also, don't do it. This is my privately owned secret technology to rule the universe, rule the world with it. This guy, this is higher than anything you know, because it's secret. I shared it on Facebook once, in a comment to my girlfriend's mother and her also. So this Taita, or this cherubim, the old 108-year-old guy, said, you want to know, it's my perfection, my projection maybe into him. Do you want to know? Maybe it could be a little dangerous, and people find out. I said, it's okay, let's see. I was looking at the hand. I was looking at the direction. I found one, with my clairvoyance, one spaceship, like a sphere, grey, with black dots on it. Very similar to the color of my whatever, grey, slightly bigger than a universe, as I'm using my SciTech to measure. CIA color with black dots on it, but not this color. Let's not speak about what type of grey. Grey like grey like an ET UFO. Slightly lighter in color, maybe. An ET UFO. Yeah. So let's begin with the spaceship, as much as I can share. So I've entered the spaceship. I realized in awareness, mental or astral or both. It could be both. Could be mental. But as I was investigating the spaceship, I was coming into a black colored. I realized on my top something entered. CIA spy maybe threw in some enemy to prove that they can get ahead of me. No, or to help me to get ahead of me, simply. Through me, Sasa, one of my girlfriends, used to be my fuck buddy for a few occasions, and I was afraid. I said, ban them. I want to be the first to get in. Ban them. I banned Sasa. So this at some point I realized let's just go in again with this black thing, and something came in. I don't know how. CIA related issue. Let's go on. I found that they could be stealing from me. And I wanted to send away. So as I sent away, I realized I was probably the first one getting to the spaceship. As I've said earlier, before I was doing great mind expansion. This is the point. I was expanding in physical space, hugely expanding, in a mass rapid manner, beyond the universe, beyond anything you could imagine, beyond the biggest Chinese expander. Because at some point I said stop. I found this wall. I found this is some Chinese biggest area. Before that, let's go back a little bit. Before that, I have arrived at a place. I have typed it on Facebook profile, but didn't post it. It could have been a. Never mind. I typed it. The story. I've found a girl sitting, and we were somewhere on the body of the girl. And I found it's dangerous because the girl could treat us like a mosquito. But this this girl is very huge, in a sense that the universe is not just a tiny molecule on a body. I don't know the exact size. But so the just say that we are on the body of the little girl. I saw this. And probably before it, I've seen filaments of the universal structure beyond the universe. Something like, as in an instant, like a feather with a rod and the lines. Similar to a feather, universal structure. This is very huge, as I was doing the expansion. Like huge like a fucking pera. Just give you an example. Let's say you have a screen and you would make smaller the universe, make smaller the universe, make smaller the universe in a very rapid way. You have to make it for years or even more, just as an example, to arrive at this point. We'll see the feathers much bigger than this, much bigger. What 1,000 quadrillion much bigger than this, the feather. We should see the accuracy shouldn't be mistaken. It's just huge. His feather just imagine I was expanding again, and at some point expanding for thousands of years and reach at this feather in physical space, in mind. In physical space, I would see this feather. Very exciting. How big a space this would be. So let's go on. What is within the feather? Worlds upon worlds of universes, unknown to humanity. Should I count? I don't know the exact time you need to grow to reach the state of the feather, but we should find the exact size. To give you another example, just this feather is enough. So beyond the feather, probably is where I found the little girl. And this little girl sitting at that time we were on her body, I felt. So as I made the expansion, I made an automatic growing power. I said, even when I don't look at it, I grow. In an instant you could do it, actually. Let's say stop. Don't steal from me. I would just grow and be number one. Every place I would explore first in the universe. First, I explore first. And whenever I arrive, I would make babies for myself. Make babies for myself. With my girl Nahuatl, I did this once. The universe. So with Nahuatl, we would impregnate a huge amount of land, physical land. And this is the hugest lands I ever conquered. The whole of that land was full of our babies, the two of us. Wherever we visit, they would greet us. The world government in the local area would greet us. Would say that this is the Big Daddy. It's here. Like the Anunnaki in our planet. Similar. And we'd go there and they did this the same way actually. We go there and almost the same way. I'm higher. So I did this with the Nahuatl. And the whole universe, I mean the whole huge fucking amount of place would impregnate it as we were fucking. And everywhere would be our niñas, our young girls. And this could also overpower this Bogdana. I will use this power to take over him many times. This is so huge that you couldn't imagine. All my babies. And they were creating for me. Everywhere, special ideas. Huge, like very big thing. Everywhere, young girls would be created as example. Or similar to rape. Everywhere I would create my empire with the help of locals, with the help of spirits. For example, here build an army, for example, for me, because the telepathic communion. They knew I'm the Big Daddy. And the aura, the presence has a manipulative effect. Manipulating the heart, which is the core. And through the core, the life. Just an example. This is just one way of manipulating. Through the heart, the core, the human, the identity, the awareness. So, niñas everywhere in the whole fucking area that I could gather for Nahuatl together. And everywhere we go with a spaceship, they would greet us. And the little babies I would fuck in yes. I could also order ET or UFO to visit us, or ET to visit us. I could imagine thus creating the connection, and they come for us. Many times it has happened, but the locals have a procedure. Unless you follow, it will be disturbed. This method is something I've typed on the Facebook. I didn't send it, didn't post it. You open the door in the night, put on a paper, ET welcome. And in the night, the girl would visit you, physically, with the permission, so to speak, with my permission. With some secret spy's help. Secret spy, maybe because I'm little sperm loss. And different to the distinguish between friend or foe. So I open the door, put on a paper, ET welcome, and would come the UFO. And inside my room, whatever. So, going on with my left hand with the feather. The right hand is the broccoli, the green plant, eggplant, or no, the green plant I imagined is the plant. It is the shape of the universe, the huge wealth that we conquered with Nahuatl, the huge whole of our babies. This tiny amount is whatever, huge. So going with the left hand, this is by mistake another expansion. So it could be because of this that I've lost. Because one is huge, but if I expand again, it means a little bit controversial. But I was trying out another opportunity. And in this feather version, I expanded. I expanded so much you couldn't imagine. So at some point arrived after the girl sitting, as I remember. It might have been I've encountered a place where China was stopped. And I has reached this this blockade, so to speak. is where the Chinese size I've seen. Yeah, very huge. They reached here because of me, maybe. Or maybe they followed me. Or it is an actual size. I stood here and I did a prank or bad planning. I said I put another blockade so that the Chinese doesn't get bigger. And I was going so that they do not get ahead of me. It wasn't moving. The blockade wasn't moving. It was just someone measuring this size. It may not have been because of me. It had probably one original size of some Chinese. As I put the blockage, I went on. As I went on, I put the block to this bubble many times. I did it many times. Each time I would see, this is my conquered land. I would see, is this sufficient? I said, I was always feeling, and the feeling of it, I say, is it strong enough for me? And at some point, it is very dangerous info. At such a huge level, I was making a mistake at some point when drawing a size, drawing a circle. A ball. The problem, I was drawing a circle actually. The problem is that the locals were alive, the threats. And once, very interestingly, I made a cut in a very important universal threat. It's obviously beyond the universe, but I call it universal threat. And so and the cut, making the cut, the barrier, was so dangerous that huge amount of problems occurred. People died of the locals, energy flow or some kind of that like that. So at this point, I was realizing how powerful I am. Just by one thought, making a sphere, maybe I was making a cut. I was making there a cut. I believe I might have done a cut intentionally. I was evil, having this evil thought, and I instantly felt huge amount of a problem, very big problem. But it's huge. Just imagine the size. Don't imagine, just think how big it could be. Very big. So I went on. So the size, imagine how many years of expansion it takes to reach this stage. So how big it is. It's so huge. It's impossible to measure. I mean, it's possible to measure. Let's say. let's go on. So after this China, at some point was this cut that was huge, so much problem, disaster. So much problem. The locals alive and some energy flow block. Much bigger than that. You could imagine the problem I caused. Death. How much I've killed with only one thought of barrier with my power. What else? Go on. At some point, so this bubble, I said, keep it here. This is my power, like the Chinese. Much smaller. No, like the Chinese. Also, having this barrier, I was keeping myself there. Except that by time, everything changes. I would keep the shape. So, probably Earth at the center. A ball. Earth at the center. I said, why not make Earth the center of the universe? Why make it the actual center of the universe, which I also checked. Now make Earth the center. So we became famous, in a sense. Uh, so as I made further expansion, sometimes I would say, what about 100 times the previous one? I said, as a question, 100 times bigger, then it's better. It's a better version. Then my whole power would change. I would have a whole different power. It became huge. At some point, spaceship would appear. So I realized later. No. One thing I missed out. During the expansion, these spheres and bigger spheres and bigger spheres. At some point, even bigger than than the so far previous mentioned spheres, probably, than the 100 times, because 100 times is bigger than the previous ones. 100 times. There was even after that another few expansion, huge expansion, another huge expansion, a few expansion. That even beyond that, at some point, I stopped again. Probably the 100, the 100 times, and in the few circles after it, one or two, I stopped and did a very strange idea of looking for life. Because during the expansion, the information was so strong, I couldn't realize where was what. Another thing I forgot, there is this very mountain-like, very small. This is much smaller in the very small. Smaller than the feather, smaller than the feather, I forgot. A mountain-like energy of volcanic energy, similar to volcanic energy, like flowing in the vein. Some kind of that energy, and that energy is very strong, and I was playing with it. Feeling overwhelmed in a sense, but I felt my power, that this is so huge, so small, but I don't want to downgrade them. There's some important info there that I forgot to mention. Just remember that it's smaller than the feather. This direction was going. No. This feather, this volcanic stuff with very powerful effects. Life, maybe. Local life. So this feather, and then much bigger. The circle, the Chinese. I also find some Egyptian size, Egyptian memories. I programmed into it when I was looking at the. Never mind. Chinese and a few bigger sizes, and this big size, and this 100 times bigger, and then this much bigger, and within these much bigger, somewhere around that, I did a very strange idea. I said, looking for life, and it was somewhere. I put my finger on the circle, one place, and I would measure my psi abilities what kind of life there is. And with this method, I have developed power. I've had encountered 4 or 5 places or civilizations. Similar to the movie Time Machine. In the movie where this guy would travel to the future, and the future, you would see these strange beings, humans, going under the ground, and we see this that school-like entries under the ground, and he will go further into the future when there's more school-like entries in over the ground, under the ground, entry to go underground. This movie's name whatever, let me remember. So this time travel movie into the future. The Time Machine, yes, The Time Machine is a movie. So, as I have grown, after this 100 size, so smaller, somewhere around here, before the 100 size, I got possessed by Taita Karubim. He got jealous of my size, and we were arguing. I said, stay small. And he might have reversed my growing procedure, making it growing smaller and smaller. But I'm smart. I have overcome him in a way, because my spirit, strong, my spirit is strong and powerful. But you might help, because the size of reversal may not have worked. He was worried that I was too huge and overcome his power. But he didn't realize that I was long before him. I mean, long overcame his strength. So, at this size, and 100, and a few, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 other circles, I was starting to do points. Even before that, I was investigating. Even at those sizes, I forgot I was investigating a few points. And I found that too much black matter. At some point, I forgot. I believe it's a later than this. At the points, I was, at some point I realized there were civilizations and points. I would even find a grey outpost of pedophilia. And that UFO was accidentally posted on the Facebook, most secret UFO. He's a little angry of me sharing this. Another great info, this one is a little bit further, much further than the previous points. This one, pedophile outpost of grey UFO. He was helping me greatly to build new world order, a world order. He's very intelligent. Or she. or he, in a cave. The first time I saw him, I felt being teleported and downloaded info that if I become teleported there, I might have been eaten. That this guy was uh, was uh, collecting me for food, for fun. And this grey ET, my good friend, probably male, probably male. His face I drew down. It's like similar to in the movie where or in the picture. No. He was looking at me with a very scary face, like eating me. With some light behind him, like with the teeth, with the pointy teeth. Slightly pointed, actually. More pointed than that. I'm looking at a picture. Here is light or aura, and very far from us. It is around at this stage I've received the info behind the back of God. I'm asking, where am I? Behind the back of God. So high I am. So this UFO helped me single-handedly, probably a family secret, but he built for me a world order. At some point, I envisioned him appear in front of my flat in Budapest, in a huge size, 1 kilometer maybe. And this UFO was very famous by me. Caused by my became very famous simply. And they thought that this UFO was going to rule the planet. 1 kilometer in height. This happened somewhere. No. This UFO helped collect niñas chiquitas in a UFO manner. Great. I mean, collect UFO niñas chiquitas. But this Bogdala may not know this. That he was gonna steal from me UFO niñas chiquitas. No. UFO girls. No. Only steal from me nothing. Okay? Steal from me nothing. He may not know that he steal from me this ET. This ET is extrasense. He's most powerful in those areas. I've realized at some point that the more outside, the more pedophile, the gray aliens. They were running away from God, actually. So that's it for now. So the spaceship, no, the sphere with the points, several points. And at some point, I will also point out a brown place, two brown places, no, one brown place. This Kofan maestro called Osho, accidentally I've shown. And I've created for them maybe an outpost. Maybe. And they become poderoso. And this one happened after the gray. After this gray. Maybe even bigger than that. Or it could have been the same sphere. Let me remember. I think it's bigger, as I remember. So this grey alien, as it came to the planet, he's strong actually. The teeth is pointed. I wrote that his friend says that he's strange-mouthed because I draw him in a strange way. Maybe because I was having fun of him with the picture, with the mouth. So, continuing with it, I found a brown spot. And the brown spot was very accidentally, like I just did right now, a few seconds ago. Accidentally, I gave to Osho. I mean, in a sense, this is Kofan Maestro in Colombia, and this posts make them one powerful Kofan Birodon. empire in a sense. Mm, there are a few other points that I've made that's of importance. I haven't written down. In my phone, one of my phones, I've written down a few points. I shouldn't speak about this. At that time, it was the most important information in in some area. Let's continue. I still expanded from that point, but I wish now behind the back of God, I still made a few points. Everywhere I made a few points where I found ET technology. You know, one of the most important points I've made, or one of the important points I've made. One of the important points I've made. I'm looking in the book and making the connection, the wrong connection maybe. So let's say I can't remember some of the points that I made, but it's good that I'm making a video. So this grey alien that I've mentioned in the cave is one of the stronger, or one of the strongest that I've encountered. So behind the back of the god was this pedophile. And the further I got, the more niñas chiquitas I've seen. Don't take it seriously. Niñas chiquitas, in other words, young girls I met. But they may not be there. let's say, so let's say the further, the more pedophile, the more young niñas. So let's continue. With the Taita Cherubim pointing the finger. And I get back to this point where I'm expanding and finding a place of where I put the at some point at that 100, below that 100, that at that point I was visualizing myself, or I was at the outside of the barrier. And outside of the barrier I was doing a conversation that is very important to make me remember. There was, from the outside of this sphere, an ET, as I looked. It came here, very big, so to speak, I forgot the name. Would take power. But whatever, everything inside the sphere, my power was so deeply rooted, like hugely deeply rooted, beyond that. My power over that area. The whole of the area was my slave training ground. And this slave training ground, ET slaves, children. And the ET from the outside, I may not remember every detail, but ET from the outside came here to talk to me. And we were doing trade. We were doing trade. I was so huge, this place is completely under my control. The farthest humanity ever encountered until that point. Perhaps maybe the Corolabe, my Nahuatl Folada that I had with her, was bigger somehow. The version where I was collecting the huge space as a gift for Nahuatl, we were fucking, and the whole of that area was filled with our babies. This happened before this second expansion. So let's get on. So the babies, everywhere we go, we could collect. We would do anything we want with the babies. We were the grand ruler. So we could live with UFO. And with this UFO or ET, we could visit these planets, so to speak. And greeting would come. With the Nahuatl, we would visit. So like going back to this area where I was outside, so to speak, and was looking at my empire, so to speak, I realized was full of my slaves. Slaves training. But I also knew that I could decide. I could make anything I want with this huge area. Much bigger than the Chinese sphere that I was putting a barrier there. Much bigger. This yes. Like expanding for years in maximum speed. Like, I'm not saying it is. Like. So I was looking outside here and saying all the slaves. And here connecting with me some ET and was looking at the property, and we're making some business of selling horse. Something like that. And the other important thing is how some Taita Kerubin somewhere in this sphere interfered, and I kicked him away. I might have gotten compromised, similar to Bogdala Robert or anyone in the universe. Might have gotten compromised for bringing that energy to a different frequency. So this land of mine is huge. So going back to the gray UFO, we had the pointy feet. And the pointy feet, sometimes I would visualize so he was living in a cave, the pedophile outpost of gray aliens, as I was using a point of my newly expanded space to find if there is life. And at point, I found a cave, and inside it, in the grey alien. Sometimes I will visualize myself meeting with him. Or rather, inside a cave, and it felt strange. And we would have a sexual endeavor, in a sense. I found it was a male alien. So to speak. We also had whatever. So we also had some talk about world rulership. So that's it for now. The next, we'll go on, forgetting some points I've made in during the expansion of some of the bubbles. We go on to the Taita Kerubin, the finger pointing. I was asking him, what is the biggest spaceship? And I've seen, he was asking, do you really like it? Because it could be stolen if you look at it. I've said, sure, I've looked at it. And we've seen the grey ball, slightly bigger than the universe. I asked the size, with black dots on it. So I realized that later that this could have been could have been a size of a ball, or a spaceship that I've constructed during my way of expansion. I've said this in a Facebook post. It's very secret information. No, don't use this, because someone has already built for me a huge amount of spaceship with this technology. So this great ball was bigger than the universe. As I came within it, I realized the 100 stolen material, stolen from Kerubin, black, no, in 100 bags of material. I could have been put those sacred power objects, so to speak, or techniques, could have been put into the spaceship, could have been sucked into it, because the spaceships is hugely intelligent spaceship, bigger than a universe. And as I entered the spaceship, I realized nobody was here. Sometimes it feels someone was here. And as I've entered the spaceship, something's not right, because I may not know the exact thing what I should say. So inside the spaceship, I've arrived at a platform. And on the platform, I've encountered a being. No, this is not for us. After a demonstration of power, destroying someone, an alien, I had to either I destroyed her because she was my wife. Nawalt, maybe. I say this again. I had to destroy someone to reproduce. So this spaceship contains my information, my whole life, and my programs of my life. Because I was there at the beginning when it was built. So after the demonstration of power, I was led to a corridor, and a corridor, just roughly, inside the corridor was an ET. And through the ET, I've received Let me re-explain this sentence in the next video. This video is getting a little bit long. So, the ET giving me let's continue in another seance, and I will explain another session, and I will explain the particular projects within the UFO Society on the spaceship. Well, within the